Did becoming famous ruin my life? Did it ruin me? Sometimes I question that.
Did he make that comment in front of people?
He made that comment in front of the other girls. There was definitely a culture within dance which was very cruel and heartless and shaming, body shaming. But there are times within my depression where I have doubted that. Yeah, that's my... I'm not doing it.
There was an early point in my career where I got a phone call saying, a day before, saying this 16-year-old kid that was meant to be speaking at this event had dropped out last minute, and could I get to London? I had no money. I ended up bunking on the megabus. This 16-year-old kid had just sold his business for 30 million, so they needed like a young entrepreneur last minute. Found me because I was on some website at 3 a.m, asked me to come, and that sent me off in my career. It was where I got my investors from, that one talk. I think if they hadn't asked me to be there, how would my life have been different? And the weird thought, which we never consider, is that maybe I would have been happier.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever thought that?
Mm-hmm. Often, yeah. You know, I wouldn't change my life. Obviously, I'm so proud of the things that I've achieved, and I have an incredible life, and I absolutely do my passion. You know, I've just had a weekend of it, you know, 3 shows over the weekend. And I feel blessed, but with it has been some really tough times. And sometimes I do think, wow. I think, did becoming famous ruin my life? Did it ruin me? Sometimes I question that.
It's a hard one to answer, isn't it?
It really is.
Because you don't know the alternatives, so you can't.
Yeah. But I think the thing is, it's like, you know, it's always so important, isn't it, to remember we're on a journey, right? Mm. What's the destination? The destination is death. You know, we've just got to enjoy this journey. And I remember the early days of the Spice Girls were the best. Before we released anything, we had the most fun because it was this excitement. What's going to happen? You know, what can it be? And then when it happened, it was incredible, but there's a lot of pressures that come along with it. So everything starts to change.
In those early years then, so before you've released any music, you stumbled around trying to find management for a while, right?
Yeah.
And then you recount stories in your book about some like dickheads that made some just like awful comments to you. Can you tell me about that comment? Was his name Chick?
Oh, Chick, yeah. So he was a financial backer. So when we were first put together by a management team, and we were with them maybe for about a year, and Chick was the financial backer of these original managers, and he'd commented on the size of my thighs, which was something that really shook me, because I went to a performing arts college, which was predominantly a dancing college, and you know, body image was an issue there. There were girls with eating disorders. I'd been witness to that in my life, but yeah, it never affected me personally. You know, and I'm a teenager, put on a little bit of weight, moving away from home, not really eating as well, going down the pub. And, you know, so my weight fluctuated a little bit, but it was never something that really bothered me. It was just, yeah, I'll cut back a little bit, lose a few pounds. But somebody actually commenting on the way I looked when I was going into a career, where so much of it is about how you look, really affected me.
Did he make that comment in front of people?
He made that comment in front of the other girls.
There's something about when you're trying to fit in, when someone points at something which makes you different, or that might make you feel like you don't fit in. And from just listening to your early years where fitting in and feeling worthy was so important to you, for someone to then in a group of people where you belong, that band, to say this is why you don't fit, essentially, with that comment, I can't think of anything more hurtful for one's self-esteem.
Especially as a young person, because, you know, think about it, I was probably 19 at that point, which at the time, you feel like you're all grown up, you left college, going out into the big wide world. You're a child. You know, you're still so young and so vulnerable.
Well, Victoria said to you that he had said comments to her about her weight as well, or her appearance.
Yeah. I think, you know, it was very much at that time. I mean, I went to dance college, so teachers would say, you need to lose weight, you know, what's that stomach? I mean, I've spoken to dancers recently about the culture of that, because, you know, recently there's been a lot talked about in the gymnastics world.
Oh, yeah.
And there was definitely a culture within dance which was very cruel and heartless and shaming, body shaming, which is changing. But, you know, dance teachers, there are some really lovely, nurturing ones out there, but some of the best dance teachers are horrible. You know, carrot and the stick, isn't it? It's quite an old-fashioned way, but it worked in some ways, but it's very damaging. Did
it change your behaviour, that comment from him? Did you notice a change in yourself at all after that?
Definitely. That was the catalyst. That was the catalyst for me it was like a wake-up call. It was like, if I want to do this, if I'm going to be a pop star, and you have to remember this was like the 90s as well, so it was, you know, body image was a very different thing then. You know, thank God there's so much more body positivity now, you know. But back then it was all about being stick thin. And I thought, wow, if I'm going to do this, I have to fit the mold. And so then it was a gradual thing, but it was like the eating and the exercising. And that's when it began. Yeah, from a comment like that, which he probably didn't give a second thought to, you know?
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy.
We never really appreciate that one comment can have such a profound impact and change someone's, the trajectory of their health or their well-being in such a significant way. Just one comment.
Yeah.
Just a few words.
Yeah, you know, I think it's a bit of a trigger, isn't it? You know, so that happened. And I think obviously I was feeling vulnerable and it knocks your confidence. But then it's kind of, I think it's like a little chain of events that leads you down that road.
Right.
You know? So that maybe was the little start of it. It ignited it.
The first domino to fall.
Yeah, yeah.
You describe, I believe, the fear of that looming depression, or, you know, I guess the fear of going back to former ways or finding yourself in that situation as being quite a scary thing. Is it a scary thing? Something you're scared of? I don't want to mischaracterize your words there, but is it something that sits at the back of your mind in terms of, you know, that you fear there might be it's like a catalyst. There could be one thing that could.
Yeah, the thing I fear the most is depression, because, you know, I've always felt like there's a fire in my belly, and even, you know, mostly at my lowest of points, I can go, this will pass, we can do this. But there are times within my depression where I've doubted that, and yeah, that's I might need a minute. Can we get tissue?
Yeah.
My biggest fear is it's that, you know, really overwhelming depression where you doubt if you can make it through beyond it.
You had those moments post, mainly, where you didn't think you'd be able, there was doubt whether you'd be able to make it through a moment. Is this post leaving the Spice Girls predominantly, or was there moments throughout the experience where?
We've never officially split up as the Spice Girls.
Oh, really?
Yeah. We took that decision because there was so much press, you know, interest in us at the time. So, you know, I was really, really struggling. We were working on Forever, which is the third album, as a 4-piece without Jerry. And I'd worked on my solo records, and I was having a really, really hard time, and it was too much. I found the environment too much, and I think the girls knew me too well. You know, I was dealing with these demons, these inner demons, and they could just read me like a book, and I just didn't want to be in their company because I had to deal with it myself, you know. So I did want to leave the band, but we took the decision to never officially split up because we didn't want the press intrusion. We were terrified because we knew. I mean, I slipped up once on a TV show. I did a show with Frank Skinner, and I used past tense. I said when I was a Spice Girl, or whatever the wording I used was, and the press jumped on it. And there was camera crews outside my house the next day.
Really?
And they chased me down the road, and yeah, and it was just like we couldn't. None of us could face that. And the you know, the beauty of that is now we kind of feel like, at the time we needed separation. You know, we'd been like this, our lives had been so intertwined that we needed that space. But now we've had time to do that and grow and become individuals and mums and have these separate lives. We can come back together and we really enjoy each other and respect each other.